GM fam, it's Daito here, and I wanted to summarize all the recent updates we've made to our Sorcerer build in Season 2, and more importantly, what we're doing to prepare for the upcoming Abattoir of Zir update in December. So, as you can see in this clip, our latest build has no problems taking down Uber Lilith. In fact, the addition of Frozen Orb as our second enhancement instead of Chain Lightning was enough to stagger Lilith in the second phase, which we weren't expecting and actually added a little bit to our kill time on this run. So, why did we decide to use Frozen Orb? Well, the answer is simple. Ice Blades is absolutely disgusting. I hate it so much. If you've ever paid attention to how slowly this conjuration moves around and attacks, it is painful to watch. I had to get it off of my action bar at any cost. Now, I mentioned in a previous video how much I miss Frost Nova, especially in Tier 100 Nightmare dungeons. So, Frozen Orb is a great substitute, and it procs that cold damage we need for Tal Rasha's unique ring. Now, this frees up a slot on our action bar for another skill, which is why we're putting Lightning Spear back in the mix. I absolutely love the combination of Lightning Spear and Frozen Orb in terms of preparing the next pack of mobs for us to demolish. So you can see in this Tier 100 Nightmare run, we haven't abandoned Lucky Hit in our stats because we want near 100 uptime in our Accursed Touch for Vulnerable. And Lightning Spear and Frozen Orb do a great job of damaging mobs on the edge of our screen and setting them up to be obliterated. The other major changes we made were choosing vampiric powers, aspects, and paragon glyphs that apply to both monsters and bosses. So for example, I love the Domination vampiric power so much, but a boss is never considered to be crowd controlled unless you stagger them, and we never stagger for the most part. So if you run with Domination, that slot is basically useless on bosses. Same with the aspect of Control. Such a great aspect, but doesn't apply to bosses. So we swapped that out with the Storm Swell aspect. Now, let's talk about what we're doing to prepare for the Abattoir of Zir. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's a new challenge that will release in the next patch update on December 5th. So the Abattoir challenge will have 25 different tiers and should scale progressively harder. Tier 1 of the Abattoir should play like a Tier 100 Nightmare dungeon. So, what does that mean for us? Defense and survivability are going to be critical for success. So personally, I'm loading up on gear in my stash that has maximum life, total armor, damage reduction, and, wait for it, barrier generation. That's right, fam. I haven't seen a single sorcerer build that highlights barrier generation. But given how much barrier we generate with our cooldowns and dodging with the Oculus and teleport, I have a sneaky feeling that barrier generation is going to find a way into my stat priorities. Now, in terms of aspects, obviously make sure you're keeping copies of Disobedience, Ever Living, and Might, but also consider keeping a copy of things like Mage Lords and Snow Veiled and Snow Guards aspects. Cold damage tends to perform really well in Uber endgame content, so have some Blizzard and Ice Spikes gear kept in your stash just in case the meta changes. Well, fam, here's hoping I can finally get a pair of Tibalt's Will so I can share in all the fun with that bad boy. But until then, happy hunting, fam.